Welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. Today I'm joined by the great man himself, Daniel Breese, which with an even greater name, shares the same name. That's beautiful. Probably the tallest Daniel I know.
It's good to be the best at something anyway. I'm happy to be on the show, mate. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the invitation.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. So the way we'll get started is just give us a bit of background about yourself and business and where you are at the moment.
Sure. A bit of background. So career-wise, I'm a failed sporting profession.
You and me both.
Yeah. So we're in similar company here. So I was fortunate to be drafted into the AFL. That career was cut short with the consecutive knee reconstructions, and unfortunately, like many, that dream was over. It forced me to realise I didn't have a plan B, as most young 19, 20-year-old kids don't have a plan B. My plan was to be a professional sports person for the next 10 to 15 years. But as a result of that, and given that the dream had been cut short, I then invested all the time and energy and ambition that you have at that age into business. I was fortunate. I got into real estate. I had a real love for property. I got into real estate, loved it. Loved it and what it taught me, in the sense of the harder you work, the more income you can potentially make.
Sales, I'm assuming, not property management.
In sales, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So got into that, and it was great from a prospecting, marketing, negotiation point of view, but it probably wasn't what I'd set out for by way of a career path. Whilst I love property, it probably wasn't the career path I could see myself going down longer term. As fortunate as I was, and as well as I was doing as a young estate agent, it wasn't for me long term. So as you do, I jumped into another business. So I started a business of my own at 23 with no idea about business. And we started a retail company at the time, a menswear business with no idea what we were doing. We basically had taken the learnings from real estate, prospecting, marketing, and what have you, negotiations and what have you, and taken that drive, and we built a business which was, by the time I'd exited, we had 30 staff, a multi-million-dollar revenue. We started it from our living room or our bedroom, which was, it was great to be able to build that up. And then from there, after 10 years, I started a hire company, an equipment hire business, which was a pretty short scale up and sell out. I did want to keep that for a bit longer, but I'd had probably my fingers in too many pies, to be honest. I had a hire business going. I was still somewhat involved in the retail business I was exiting. I'd also had started working with an ASW. I had a second baby on the way. There's just a lot happening. So ultimately I sold out a bit earlier than I wanted to, but valuable learnings after cutting my teeth in my first business. I really hadn't made anywhere near as many mistakes in my second. And then after selling out, which leads me to where I am now. I'm now with AS White, which is an offshore staffing solutions business. So I can appreciate it's not necessarily construction of what you guys do day to day, where you're out on job sites, you're in your high vis and all the rest of it. I'm more on the professional services that sometimes support those construction industries.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's been an interesting career path and one that's taught me a lot of lessons. But I think one of the things in particular of owning a business, and I'm sure a lot of your guys are sole contractors and got subbies working for them and all the rest of it, they're wearing many hats. They're doing marketing, they're doing invoicing sometimes, they're doing workforce scheduling, they're doing it all, and then actually doing the practical hands-on work as well. And I guess a lot of that I can relate to in my own businesses, having to figure out the IT and figure out the marketing and figure out the finance and do the actual work itself. There's a lot of similarities in that sense. And I think also when I did have the retail business, I should mention that at the end of that, I exited and walked away from a business that I for one reason or another, but ultimately left a business that we built up. But I walked away from it feeling that it could have been done a lot better. And had we not made the mistakes that we had, it could have been who knows what. Hindsight's always wonderful, right? 2020 vision.
Of course.
But coming now into this organization and this business, it's given me an incredible opportunity to be able to support businesses through challenges that I was facing as a business owner as well.
Considering that you started the business when you were 23.
My daughter's knocking on the door. Don't worry.
It's normal. So considering that you're starting the business when you were 23, like, I mean, with no experience, just working in real estate for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing what you guys achieved by having 30 staff and all that. And obviously learning everything that you did from that and going into ASW. I mean, that's a wealth of knowledge, man, that you can carry.
Yeah, it was really to be honest, it was a business degree by way of failures. We just trialed and errored everything. And in hindsight, we didn't, where you guys have, when I say you guys, where Trademark has a wonderful opportunity is the fact that it has this great membership and network where you can leverage off each other by way of skills and knowledge and what have you. As a young business owner 15 years ago, we really were just fumbling our way through things and made every mistake along the way. Whereas this provides what you guys are doing, you can really leverage each other's knowledge and network, which I think has, enormous upside.
Well, I mean, that's the most important thing, right? Your network is what, is your net worth, I guess. What helps you and assists you when you're having the hard times. Like imagine put yourself when you're, 23, just say 24, a year into business, and then COVID happens.
So when we started our business, again, and probably I think when you're young, you're naive, which I think is a real benefit because you're not necessarily aware of what can go wrong. All you do is really just pushing ahead.
Yeah.
But in 2006, when we started the retail business, 2008 was GFC.
Yeah.
And as a business that was 2 years in, having, again, very limited business acumen at that time, going through that experience was really, really helpful coming into this time, over COVID, because you're going into a whole bunch of uncertainties, and at the same time, all you can really control is what's in your own environment. And certainly the GFC was a good place to cut our teeth as young business owners and get through that, thankfully, quite successfully.
For sure. I mean, any experience is a good experience, whether good or bad, because you learn from it.
Yeah, it is. And I think, look, obviously COVID, I think, is far different to GFC. And hitting such a broader market than what the GFC did, but no doubt, I feel like, thankfully, we're seeing some positivity and opportunities where we're opening up again, and looks like things are going to be hopefully behind us. I did say that last year, by the way, but as an economy, as business owners, I think we'll all be far better off for the experience of having been through what we're going through now. That's easy to say because obviously some people are going through some really, really challenging.
How's your experience with business been in COVID? I know we've spoken a few times, and it's been for your particular business, it's been good because a lot of people obviously having to get rid of some staff locally have been looking to go abroad and filling these gaps. And so just tell us a bit about that. Yeah,
so I guess maybe I probably should mention what ASW actually does, right? So ASW, what we do is we provide dedicated offshore staffing, and I guess that's not to be confused with outsourcing, because it is often confused with outsourcing. And outsourcing, just for way of definition, is typically you're delegating the tasks to a third party business, and they're then completing those tasks on your behalf. Whereas offshoring is you're building an extension of your existing business that has happened to be located overseas, and you're delegating those tasks directly to that team member, and they're a full-time team member of your business that has happened to be located overseas. So what we effectively do for our clients is find talent, manage the HR for them, manage the data security, the IT infrastructure, the offices environment, and then provide account management and governance across the top to ensure that they can effectively build a team and scale a team like they do onshore, but offshore. And look at a whole bunch. We're fortunate that through the construction industry and other industries that we've got some great clients through manufacturing and project managers and construction. And we've got staff doing estimation and quoting and drafting, sales admin, CRM and workforce scheduling. So it's really broad. I guess the roles that we support our clients with is diverse. It's agnostic in the sense that it could be anything, marketing, social media. But I think there was once upon a time, the motivation was about cost cutting. I need to save costs. Whereas now, I think COVID, one thing that it has done is people working like you and I are right now, through the screen and via video and what have you. A lot of business owners now probably realizing that, hey, I can have staff located anywhere in the country or anywhere out of the country.
Yeah.
And it's probably just justified to them about how they want to rebuild their team. And I'm a big believer that there are key roles that need to be onshore and they need to stay onshore. And at the same time, there are roles offshore that can really complement your onshore staff. And I think one of the opportunities here is how do you leverage your onshore team to be able to do more?
Yeah.
How do you take away all perhaps the administrational side of their business that's holding them away from perhaps meeting with key stakeholders, perhaps looking for opportunities to grow their clients, ensuring that projects are being delivered on time, all those things. This is where I feel the opportunities are for the offshore staffing. So I feel on the other side of this, businesses here might reconsider how they rebuild their team. I should mention that when I had my retail business, that really struggled operationally. We had a lot of overheads, and had we built that a little bit more effectively, I feel that we would have had a lot more onshore growth because of our stability offshore.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately that's missed is you're actually solidifying and stabilizing your onshore employment by having often some offshore cost effectiveness. But it's been the start of the pandemic, to go back to your point, how's it been for COVID? The start was unknown. We, like you guys and everyone, were really sort of just going, shit, what's going to happen here? What are our clients going to do? What's going to happen with our staff? Our CEO from the outset guaranteed we have 1,200 plus staff. So obviously a big workforce. Our CEO guaranteed everyone their job straight away without clients making a decision. We thought, let's just guarantee everyone their job, which was a huge gesture. It was great for our company culture. But at the start, a lot of our clients probably just were sandbagging the walls.
Yeah.
For the unknown. Like, is the tidal wave coming in that we're not sure about? And I think after a couple of months, people realized that this is going to be here for a while. Let's start growing.
Yeah, of course.
More recently, so this year, in the last 3 or 4 months, we've exponentially grown because I think businesses now are just at the point where we're seeing growth. Interesting, not because clients are trying to save money. We're seeing growth because in a lot of the industries we work at, and it's not surprising, you're probably seeing this in the media, there's a real talent shortage going on because there's no immigration coming in, going through technology booms and all the other things. And construction is, up until recently, it's been firing along. We just haven't had the talent available in Australia to work. So that's seen us see a lot of growth from the market.
That's a positive from so much negatives. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, we know we're one of the fortunate ones, and at the same time, we're really, we're really respectful of what others are going through. Because whilst the start was unknown and we didn't grow exponentially for the first few months when this was all going on, we do realise how fortunate we are at the moment. Given, I've got family who have got health gyms, and all the rest of it have been closed for God knows how long. So we know that we're one of the lucky ones.
How about having 1,200 staff overseas? Obviously, it's important to create a culture and a community to make sure that they feel. It's hard, even us talking now is much different to us having a lunch together, and stuff. So it doesn't feel. It feels real, but it doesn't feel that. It doesn't have that same effect.
No, it doesn't have the kinetic energy that you get by being
100%
in the flesh. You're
100%.
Absolutely right.
And so
it's
having like staff that are overseas, so you will never. Not never, but for a majority of the time that you're dealing with it, you're not going to have that kinetic energy. So how important is creating that community, creating a strong sort of environment that they feel a part of your team. You feel a part of it, like you make sure that they feel a part of your team as well.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I got to say, the answer to that question and how that's achieved is probably where the success lies.
Yeah.
Because in our business, we're effectively building an extension of your team. So hypothetically, if you had a trademark team member, they're going to feel like they're part of the trademark group. They want to know that they're part of your, weekly chat that you guys are sending around on a Friday, wishing everyone a great weekend and things like that. Yeah. Is it challenging? Absolutely. Thankfully, we have a lot of staff in each country. So what we do as a provider is provide a whole bunch of culture building activities that kind of makes them feel part of something bigger than just their client as well, which I think is important. How do you build culture? Look, to be honest, whilst it is more challenging, it's just time. And it's little things, sending personalized messages, it's jumping on a call to check out how people are going. In a non-COVID world, our clients would usually travel overseas maybe once a year, sometimes more, to spend time with them in the office and build that relationship further and make the staff feel like they're really valued. So, but given obviously we don't have that at our fingertips, it really is time, and that is when you're having a team meeting that you make sure you remember to bring in that person who might be working from Manila or one of our office in Malaysia or in Vietnam. It's, hey, let's get Jasper on the call. This is a great team meeting. I think you'd really get value out of it. So that's the challenge, is just being inclusive. Nothing in my mind, and I'm sure you guys are the same, particularly in trademark and in the construction industry in particular, that in-person networking and relationship building is very, very hard to manufacture in other forms,
Of course.
Because so much is gained by way of being in the flesh, spending time with each other. So doing that remotely has its challenges, but there are certainly ways of doing it. It just takes a bit of time.
100%. And for you personally, like, how important is community and being a part of a community like the trademark group? Like, how important is that during these times?
Look, I've been really thrilled because trademarking specifically, and I'm part of a few networking groups, and in regards to trademark, where I've been really, it's so welcoming for one. I think, seeing the group chats that are going on, the way in which members are supporting each other, whereby projects are coming up, and hey, I've got a project I'm tendering for, and all these opportunities, I think is incredible. That the way in which the willingness to support other members. Me not being a construction person, it's really been open arms, and I appreciate you extending the invitation for me to come in and be a fly on the wall and part of the group. And but I think ultimately where community is valued is in challenging times. And whilst it's hard to look at so many positives in what is a very difficult time, trademark, I feel, is probably at its most valuable right now, given its challenging times in the economy and for the industry. You very rarely appreciate your network or your community or support when things are going great.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I think that right now, being part of a broader community, and in this instance with trademark, I think is highly important. and it's exciting times for the group, given it's so young as a group and yet growing so rapidly. I feel it's an exciting time for Trademark overall.
I think what you touched on is a key point, that the trademark community coming together during this time is much more valuable than when everything's going all right. Because everything's all right, you don't really think. But when you got something like the pandemic going on that I never even thought it would affect the industry, the construction industry, and has. Having the group together, having people together to be a sounding board, to have a quick conversation, say, hey, mate, how are you going? I don't even know who you are, but how are you going, mate? You're a part of the same community as me. Let's chat.
Yeah.
And obviously those relationships will be built once we're able to throw our many events that we have planned, and once we're able to get people together for lunches and drinks and whatnot. I think that's the most important key, to build those relationships now during these times that people will remember. Because I might meet someone at the event and not remember them, but during these challenging times, if someone reaches out to me, I'll definitely remember them for the next time.
Yeah, and I think that's where, as I said, now that it's in there's actually an opportunity because it is all virtual or via digital at the moment. You can hit a lot more people at the same time as well, which is a benefit. But it's great to see so many people engaging, and chatting and asking for opportunities and asking for help and getting insights. And so it's an exciting time for the group. And I feel that if you're not part of a group like this or something similar within your own industry, then potentially there's an opportunity lost. So it's a brilliant time.
Thank you for your kind words, mate. And you're a very valued member. I love having you on board, mate.
I'm looking forward to getting in person. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah,
can't wait, brother. Can't wait.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, right? Yeah. I said I've really appreciated, how welcoming you guys have been. The whole group have been to me, and hopefully I can provide some value to your future members. Current and future. I'd be happy to be part of it.
And just you being a part of the group is valuable, mate.
No, good God. That's scary. It's been wonderful, mate. And I thank you for inviting me for today, but also having me in the group. There's some fantastic, really accomplished business owners within the group, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate your time. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you putting aside time to have this chat, and looking forward to seeing you in person, mate.
Fingers crossed next few weeks, mate. Take care. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one.
Take care.